and I'm the author of a new book, The Skill of Flower Arranging. Some of you may have my previous books. I've got a very simple container here, a little bit of moss that I've put on this, and just a little bit of melaleuca bark, and that's fastened with just some wire hairpins. I'll show you, just like so. You can see those, and you just fasten in. Alright, so these are fairly natural type flowers. This is actually a calla leaf. Now that's quite spiky, that's coming out quite firmly, so we're going to have to watch that. And you can see just components of garden foliages. Take that one off because he's a bit imperfect and go into the bin. There's a little bit of brassica, which is your umbrella tree. I have that coming over this side. Quite an interesting effect there. Also got an interesting little base, just a tatami, but it's just all very, very natural. I'm just going to let that go across. Now we'll fasten that just with some wire. So we'll just fasten in, and that creates an interesting effect. So we've got quite an earthy container. We're looking for another one of those leaves with the lilies, so we can match that in. Now let's come into this area here with the Akuba coming through, and I've got some wheat. I'm just going to gather that together. I'm going to feed that through the tatami. Get that in there, hopefully. Feed it in and in. That's giving us just a nice little cluster of height. And I've got some leeks. So this is again quite an interesting selection. So we just put the leeks in. You see those? So leave the natural material on, given that we've got some of the natural colours and fibres. So there's the leeks coming through. Really quite interesting. Have another one of those coming down. So we'll just make a little feature. There's a little bit of lichen, so we put that in. Again, just all natural sort of looking materials, so we're getting quite an earthy feel. Just a little bit of the coconut fibre for a textual contrast. You can see that we've got so many different textures happening here, but they all work together just to create a nice, interesting effect. So let's bring that around. It's a little bit of pelargonium. It creates a nice little texture again. And when you've got one of something, it's extremely difficult. I mean, if this was a proper natural design, we wouldn't be able to do this, but there's some fish bone. If I cut that, strip it back so that we can just bring that out, then I can use the other piece, just trimming down a little bit, and just bring that in. And that just gives, again, another little feature of that particular texture, which is quite nice. So we don't actually need to have this, but we'll have a look at it and just see. I'm trimming that back a bit. Let's see if it works with regard to giving it a side view. So I'm taking that to the side, and if we've got another piece, we might be able to mirror it. So let's have a look and see if we can. Yes, we can. Now, because we've got it actually towards the side, it doesn't carry as much impact looking at it from the front, as you can see there. And in fact, as we keep going with this, we're not really going to have what we call a front or a back. So I've got some lovely little hellebores here, and we'll bring these down into the base, which creates just a nice, interesting texture with those lovely little natural hellebores. Now, what have we got here? Here's a little bit of Nandina. This is fairly new Nandina, so just be careful. If it's too new, it can wilt. This one is strong enough, so we're fine for that. But again, that's just creating a nice little textural contrast there. We'll have some more of those hellebores. They're just beautiful at the moment. So that's quite a nice little texture coming through there. Now, if you do need to work through the Melaleuca, do what I'm doing here now. Just make a hole and insert through. So you can actually just go through the Melaleuca if you need to do so. Now, just a little bit of colour just coming up here. It's quite light with the diosma. So you're getting quite a natural effect, but it's actually contrived. So one could loosely call it a decorative natural, which for those of you that like more formal designs, this will have less appeal. And for those of you that like more a natural feel of designs, this should have a lot of appeal. And you can pop this on a coffee table or in a spot, and it's its own little feature piece. I'm just going to put some moss just through into that area there. That's going to hold by itself. I'll just check a little bit of texture just in there. Right, so we clean our workstation off. I think we've got enough textural contrast there to create enough visual interest. So again, just checking it from all angles. So these little bits of Nandina, and they bring in that lovely burgundy colour which goes in well with the diosma. So have a look as we go around. So you've actually got two main areas of dominance, and then it's drawing down to the actual base. So I'll bring that forward and let's do a rotation as we go. So lots of interesting texture in this particular design. To keep going around. Here we go. So I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you very much.